Here is something strange about limits. Most people think they discover them after trying everything they possibly can. But the truth is that most people discover only the point where they become uncomfortable, and then mistake that feeling for the end of their potential. That was exactly what happened to Rohan, who was 20 years old and completely convinced that he had already reached his limit in studies, fitness, and life itself. From the outside, nothing looked terrible. He attended college, passed some exams, spent hours scrolling through his phone, and kept telling himself that he would eventually get serious. Whenever he received average grades, he blamed his intelligence. Whenever he struggled during workouts, he blamed his body. Whenever he saw someone more successful than him, he convinced himself that those people were simply born differently and that some people were naturally made for greatness while others were not. Without realizing it, Rohan had built invisible walls around his life. Those walls were made of excuses that sounded reasonable. And because they sounded reasonable, he never questioned them. He kept telling himself that this was enough and that maybe this was all he was capable of. Then one day, something happened that disturbed him more than failure ever had. He looked at himself honestly and realized that he wasn't exhausted because he had been pushing too hard. The painful truth was that he had barely pushed himself at all. He wasn't tired because life had beaten him. He was tired because comfort had slowly become his lifestyle. And deep inside, he knew that he wasn't losing against the world. He was losing against his own comfort zone. That realization stayed with him, and the next morning he decided to make a change. He didn't promise himself some unrealistic transformation, and he didn't suddenly become a different person overnight. Instead, he made one simple rule. Whenever his mind told him that he had done enough, he would do a little more. If he finished one chapter, he would read another page. If he completed 10 push-ups, he would try a few more. If he studied for 1 hour, he would continue for a little longer. The idea sounded simple, but living by it felt painful. During the first week, his body hurt and his mind constantly fought against him. Every morning, he wanted to sleep more. Every evening, he wanted to quit early. His brain kept whispering that he deserved rest and that he had already reached his limit. But something strange started happening. Every time he pushed slightly beyond what felt comfortable, he realized that he wasn't breaking. Instead, he was becoming stronger. The 10 push-ups that once felt impossible became 15. 15 eventually became 25. 1 hour of studying slowly became 2 hours, and 2 hours became 3. What amazed him the most was that the things he once considered impossible had simply become normal through repetition. But life wasn't finished testing him. About a month later, he failed an important exam, and that failure could have easily destroyed all the progress he had made. The old version of Rohan would have blamed the teachers, complained about bad luck, and eventually accepted defeat. However, something inside him had changed. He had started understanding that pain wasn't his enemy. Comfort was. So while many people around him complained, he quietly went back to work. While others searched for shortcuts, he accepted the struggle. While others looked for excuses, he focused on improvement. Slowly, his grades began improving. His body became stronger. More importantly, his confidence started changing, because he was finally proving to himself that he was capable of much more than he had believed. One evening, while running, he experienced something that changed his perspective forever. After 20 minutes, his legs started burning and his lungs begged him to stop. His mind immediately told him that he had reached his limit and that continuing would be pointless. For a moment, he almost listened because the voice sounded convincing. Then he remembered something important. Every limit he had believed in before had turned out to be false. The limit of 10 push-ups had been false. The limit of studying for 1 hour had been false. Even his fears had been false. Because of that realization, he decided to keep running for 1 more minute. Then another minute. Then another. When he finally stopped, he understood something that changed his life forever. His body wasn't stopping him nearly as much as his mind was. And his mind had been lying to him for years. As time passed, people started calling him disciplined and talented. Some even thought he was naturally different. But nobody saw the internal battles he had fought. Nobody saw the mornings when he wanted to stay in bed. Nobody saw the nights when quitting seemed easier. Nobody saw the moments when he wanted to give up but chose to continue anyway. Because greatness isn't built when life feels comfortable. Growth doesn't happen when everything is easy. Real transformation begins when you willingly step into discomfort and continue, moving even when every part of you wants to stop. Most people never discover their potential because they stop at the first sign of pain. They mistake discomfort for limitation and fear for reality. Then they spend years living inside cages that they built with their own beliefs. But the truth is simple. Your limits are self-made, and most of them exist only because you've repeated them so many times that they started sounding like facts. The moment you step beyond comfort, growth begins. The person you want to become isn't waiting somewhere far away. That person is waiting on the other side of the things you've been avoiding. Sometimes, all it takes is one more chapter, one more rep, one more attempt, and one more step to discover that you were never close to your real limit in the first place.